Greetings and welcome to another building tutorial. I am Darkling and this of course is Ark Survival Evolved. Today we'll be revisiting my Taming Raft. Since the TLC update there has been a few things wrong with it and today we're going to address those. So stick around and hopefully you'll learn something. Okay, for those of you that saw the original build of this, I did make it out of stone, but this time we're going to make it out of glass and metal, which is my preferred medium for rafts. There's no leads on the server, so we don't have to worry about the raft getting sunk or anything like that. The build itself is still relatively simple. There's only a slight variation on the last one, but it does make quite a bit of difference with the new TLC updates. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by placing a pillar. Now if I was a smart man I would have actually set my hotbar up before I actually started this, but I didn't, so you know, hey, let's go ahead and fix that now. So we're going to start by placing a pillar. Now if you try and click straight off the mark, it's not going to actually place. So what you're going to do is you're going to ever so slightly look up and then place it. You can then let go of the tiller and place a ceiling on top of that pillar and then a foundation to that. Now S Plus magically snaps downwards perfectly from that, and that will be the base for your raft. Now you will get a little bit of raft sticking through. I do generally lift the raft up a little bit. I don't actually like things sunk too far into platforms, especially if you're building on something like a Quetzal. The method for actually fixing that is you'd place a railing on the side and then a ceiling and then snap a foundation to that and you can lift it back up. So we're not going to be doing that today. We're going to start placing all these through and we're going to extend out the front by probably one more tile, if my memory serves me, and out to the side. Now we want this to be 4 wide for the actual pen. I'm just trying to think of this while I'm doing it. I don't plan too far ahead in my videos just because it is a lot more organic. You'll see me build as I build when I'm building. There's no planning in any of that really. Whenever I build I have a general idea of what I want and kind of just go with the flow. I'm always that kind of person. So out the back we're going to extend a little bit, but nothing too major. Let's see, we need to go out that side a little bit more. I'll probably just do that in ceilings rather than more foundations. I suppose I could leave that as a ceiling if I really wanted to, but I won't this time round. So now I've got to go through and pick up all the ceilings from those top pieces. Just looking at it you can see it will say metal ceiling. If you've got a ceiling on top of a foundation it'll always tell you the ceiling, so you're not going to pick up the wrong tile unless you double click. Just double check the rest, that's fine. Okay, so we've now got a nice level field and it's nice and low. We can start putting some walls around the outside. So as I said, I'm doing this out of glass and metal, so this should be a lot easier. We're making it with large walls. Now the reason for this is we're going to try and keep your unit count down. Now when you're building with a raft you're stuck with a limit to how many items you can place on it, structures and everything. So the large walls cut down on that size, and it's the same reason we're going to use the behemoth hatch frames, because we want to cut down on how many items that we're actually incorporating into the design. So what I'm basically doing is I'm going to build a 4x4 box. Now not all of that box is going to get used by the pen itself. I'll get to that in a moment. Now I'm going to put a door on both sides of this one. Now I normally just do one. If you're taming a Spino or a Rex, you're going to have to pick them up anyway, because they don't fit through the gate frames, so you're going to have to mess around with that regardless. I just pick them up and ride them through it and then put them back in place. It's nothing major. Because you're placing on the outside, there's nothing special in the snapping, so you don't have to mess around too much. The only problem you're going to have is when you go to place the gate, you're going to get this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Q just before I click, and quite often that will be enough to rotate it in that 90 degree. So I'll just do that a couple times, and there you go. Now you're going to have problems on a raft because the raft is moving. It's always been a pain. You can't really get around that. And sometimes it's just a matter of changing your standing position. Okay, so I hit Q there and it's definitely flashing in the right way. So I'm going to hit Q, then click. I don't think I hit Q early enough. There we go. Gate in there. Okay, so we've got our pen now. So this is pretty basic. From here, what we're going to do is we're going to place in the door frames. Now I don't have any on me at the moment. Oh, actually there's one thing I do need to do. Let's place a wall there. I'm going to place one on each side, and I'm enclosing that in. Okay, so now we're going to grab another lot of door frames. Say another lot. We hadn't had any in the first place, so it's more like an initial lot. And we're going to try and place them facing the same direction. So I think the direction we want is towards us. Now, like I said, you're going to get a lot of this jumping around. Sometimes you just have to place and just watch where the final arrow ends up. And that's fine. That's fine. Okay, so now we can take it up to the top. Now, obviously, the hatch frames are so you can shoot through them. The glass around the tiller, that's just to make sure that if you're on, if you have to go and drive or whatnot, you don't have to worry about something eating you. Okay, so now we've got that in place. Everything's looking great. Now we have to get up there. Now, that's always a pain. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a couple of ramps and obviously put those back. I don't need more glass walls, we're sorted there. I'm going to take a few ceilings. That'll be more important than the glass ramps. I'm going to take a hatch frame of both kinds. Now, okay, I don't know why I've got those, I only needed those. Okay, so one of the issues with building like this is because I'm extending the hatch frame off the back of the raft, it's actually outside of the foundation zone. Now this is going to cause a few problems. Whoops. Oh, great. Basically what it means is when you go to pick up any items on the raft, if anything is outside that zone, it's going to get broken. And you can get around this by just picking up the door. The frame itself is fine, it's snapped to a correct position, you won't have problems with that. It's not a major, it's only the actual door itself. Come on. Fine. Be like that. Oh, come on, I did hit jump. I'm a little bit laggy. This base is quite large, so it's causing me a little bit of lag. So hopefully the recording's not too jumpy. Now I've got one spot that doesn't have a ceiling in it, and I'm just going to jump place it. Shouldn't be too much of a major, because I've got the large walls. Should be okay. There we go. No, we don't want that, we want that. Now this is going to be the part that is painful. It always is. Placing these is a real pain. Oops. But, God, man, I swear I can play this game. Okay, so we're going to try and look up along the placement area. Now I'm getting a bit of movement there. Come on. Okay, so it's drifting. Oh, there we go. Doesn't normally place quite that easily. I'm glad it did. Now it's going to be above the ground a little bit. Once you're at a beach and you turn the raft a little bit, you're not going to have a problem. You just run up it like that. What you want to do is set this to manual. Now if I pick up anything on this, it's actually going to break that hatch frame, because like I said, it's not on a legitimate foundation. So this is the trick to this. That's why you can do it like I'm doing it. So what we're going to do is we're going to place this in here, and what we want is to place it so that it fills in that 4x4 slot. Now you're going to have to mess around to get the snap right. Now, it's not always the easiest task. You're going to have to move around trying to get a position where it will take it in a valid way. Come on. I wonder if it's because I don't have any. I might run a line of walls. So what I'm wanting to do is I'm wanting to create a snap point for it to connect to, and I'm not sure if it's connecting to the ceilings or connecting to the walls, but I'm adding those walls in just to add another snap where I need it. So I'm not guaranteed that it's going to work, but I do have hope. Okay, so I'm currently just spamming the queue. I'm looking for, oh, there we go. Beauty. Now which way is the hatch actually going to open? To be honest, I think it's actually snapped on the wrong dimension here. It has. Okay, so ideally you want this snapping the other way. And as you can see, I picked up that part and it destroyed that hatch frame. So that's what I was talking about before. I was going to show it to you, but this time I actually got to show it to you without even meaning to. Okay, so what I want is just try and get that snap again. Come on. Okay, there it is there. Now, unfortunately, G isn't rotating the placement. Oh, that's the one. See the frame along here, you can see those little hinge parts. That's what you're looking at when you're placing it. Now I was looking for that to not be at the front. See, the reason I want to change that is when we place this in, we want it to hinge to the sides. So that's the ideal position. Now obviously if you have to pick it up, you're going to lose that hatch behind us. It's not too much of a problem. You just don't put it in or pick it up before you actually pick something else up. Just realised how dark it's gone. And how long has it been that dark for? Okay, so I'm going to pick up these walls and see if anything detaches. Nope. Awesome. We don't need extra stuff in there, and I'm going to place them instead. Doesn't need to be too tidily placed here. And And do I have a hatch door frame on me still? I do not. Okay. So as you can see, the box is now nice and tightly enclosed. All the pieces are actually in place other than the ramp at the back. I'll do some glass modelling and then we should be done. I'm just going to place a hatch at the back there. I don't have any doors on me. I've got... Not sure if I'm in range of my storage. One of those. Oh, I can't build it here, can I? I've got all the engrams on my list from using creative mode on something else. Unfortunately, it means it looks like you can build stuff in your inventory, but you really can't. I'll have to go and build that before I finish it off. Okay, so I've got the hatches in place. Well, the actual missing hatch frame needs to go in. That one there. Pop that back in. Fall in the water again. Now I'm going to set that to manual. Okay, so the method is, what you want to do is you want to open up your hatch and keep it on manual. You have your dino chase you up on a flyer or on foot, doesn't really matter. You run in, the dino will fall in there, and if it's something like a Rex or a Spino, you can then close the hatch. Sorry about the hiccups there. Once the hatch is closed, your dino is not getting out. The previous version of this line here wasn't here, and there was a single height space over the driver's tiller. Now that wasn't ideal because the pathing allowed Rexes to actually climb out. I was using one of my rafts semi-recently and actually had a Rex jump out of the pen. Not great when you're on foot and you're not expecting it, especially when you're actually standing up here. Quite often when I get a Rex in there, I would come back and just shoot its head from back here, or I'd shoot it through the door frames below. It really depends on where it's moving around. And if you've got something small in the pen, you can actually open up the lower one, if I can get the angle. Why is that not? Oh, there we go. You open up the bottom one, and while you're up here shooting your tame or whatnot, you don't have to worry about any other dinos running up behind you and trying to eat you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go off cam and I'm going to remodel the glass because that's not very exciting, and then we'll come back and we'll have a test of it. So I just realized I actually missed one little part that I forgot to add on, and that's the side ramp. Now I usually do this to have a tame sitting on it while I'm moving around, and while it's taming I can have it out the side as well. I thought I'd just come back and add this on rather than off camera. I've already removed the hatch frame out of that, so we don't have to worry about that falling out. Now I'm actually building next to my base, so some of this is a little bit of a pain to place. Get these back ramps on as well. This is just so we can get in and out quite nicely. I'm not sure how deep that'll go. Okay, that's as deep as it'll go. So that should be just enough to get us out of the water. That's all we need. And any wrecks or whatnot, we can shoot it from back here without too much of a hassle. So like I said, that's all I generally do. It's nothing too major. Sometimes I'll go and put a ramp in the side here so you can use it as a carrier, and if I had another ramp I'd stick that there. I'll grab one in a minute and pop that into place. Actually, I can steal this one right here. It was only a temporary one anyway. Let's go to chuck that in there. There we go. And that way if we pull up to a beach we can use this as a carrier raft and bring stuff into it, move it around. It's all good. Okay, so like I said before, I'm going to go away and do the glass remodeling now and we'll go from there. Okay, so as you can see over there on the beach we have our wrecks. So what we're going to have to do is try and get ourselves lined up so we can grab him, or her, whichever it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up next to the beach. I don't want to be too close because I need a little bit of time to jump on my RG. So I'm going to spin the backside around, jump out. Oops, I forgot I'm actually in a glass box. Grab my bird, and oh, he's already seen me. So you follow me, and into the box. Now if you need to, you can close that top hatch to keep him nice and secure. Me, I am just going to leave that open for the time being and shoot him in the posterior. Shouldn't take many shots just because it's only a level 20 I think it is. And he's already down. Okay, so as you can see, it wasn't very hard to get him into the raft, and if you're good, what you can do is drive him home. As long as you don't hit any terrain on the way, he'll stay lying down, and you can take him as far as you need to. So as you can see with the glass, it does make a lot of a difference. If you go first person, it's usually great, but currently I have a Rex in my vision. So we're just going to drive around the corner. And as you can see, Rex is still sitting there. He hasn't drowned yet. He shouldn't drown at all. I'm getting a little bit of a glitch because he's touching the raft. Anytime you get a dino touch a platform while it's moving, it tends to have a few issues. But it shouldn't cause you too many problems. Depending on your taming rate, I've actually used this method and started the tame off and driven home with the Rex sitting on the back of the raft, and by the time I actually got back to base the Rex was ready to actually hop off. It was all tamed up. So as you can see, I'm just coming around to where my base location is. I thought I'd do this in the real world so you can actually see how applicable it is. I even remember where I am. Having all the glass around it makes a huge difference in steering and whatnot. There's no messing around with trying to work out if you're going in the right direction or whatnot. Mr. Alpha. A lot of stuff on this beach. As you can see, I'm still getting a little bit of jerkiness from having him on the raft. It's nothing major. I'm sure you can live with it. Doesn't really bother me too much. As you can see, my base is rendering in at the moment. Just let that finish so I can park in the right spot. I'll actually be doing a tour of this base at some point, add it to the showcase series. I haven't quite finished it. There's a few things I'm still not 100% done with, so I'll carry on and get those done before I bother actually adding it to the showcase series. So we'll just nip around the corner here. and park up where we were. Well, most of where we were. So as you can see, he's still unconscious. My bird's still on the back. We're back at base. And easy taming from here. All I have to do is don't have anything on me. I just need to pull something. Yeah, it's as easy as that. No messing around. Take him for a ride. He'll do all the work for you. Just get him to chase you up and into the box. The other thing you can do is if you open up the side and close the top, you can bait RGs to come into the side and tame them as well. So works out to be quite a great way of going. I designed this particular one as a multifunctional and using as little structures as possible. These side pieces here that go up to the top, you don't really need those. You can remove them if you need to, but I have kept them on this one just to add a little bit of shielding from anything coming from the side to prevent aggro, and that's all she wrote. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you like the design. It's pretty versatile. I'm sure you can come up with your own better designs. Like I've said in the past, my tutorial videos aren't how to build, like you should build this. It's more how to build as in you can build along these lines. So come up with your own designs. Use mine if you really have to. Otherwise, take care and enjoy your building.